I'm starting this by saying that I, 27 male, and my sister, 31 female, have no relationship with our dad, 61, because he's a horrible father that has neglected me. We actually hate each other. It's sad that it came to this point, but it's all his fault. He was diagnosed with cancer 2 years ago. He was doing well at first, but his health continued to decline due to him not responding to treatment well. I only know his updates from my uncle. He does this because he thinks I'd come across and try to mend the relationship, and I told him it would never happen unless my dad grovels and admits he's a failure. I live in one of the oil countries in the Middle East. My dad is rich, and according to law, me and my sister to more than half of his assets, any assets he has, and he can't deny me or sue me because in-law children are owed inheritance. Forgot to mention that he doesn't have any other children, and his wife's kids are his stepchildren, and they're owed nothing, but he likes them more than us. Since his health was getting bad really fast, he called me a few times trying to fix our relationship, only for him to tell me that he wants me to give up my inheritance because he wants it for his wife's kids. I told him to piss off, and that I cannot wait for him to die so I can take everything, and I laughed at him. I admit that it was bad, but everything has been building up inside me for a long time. My sister said that I should have just hung up on him and ignored him like she did, and my uncle says that I ruined my last chance for a relationship. Am I the a-hole? You do know that anything in his life he can transfer or give to his spouse or stepchildren. It's a gift and does not come under any inheritance laws. Stepchildren are not entitled to anything, but his wife is to an eighth portion. So I would be wary and not keep hope that he gifts the entire thing to your stepmom out of pettiness. But that would be an extremely crappy thing to do, and a sin to do so. Your dad is an a-hole and deadbeat. So no, keep everything that you are entitled to, and give not an inch more. And tell your uncle to jump in sewer water if he can't accept no. Everyone sucks here. I'm not going to justify what your father did. He's an a-hole. But mocking a sick old man's pain just isn't a good look. However good it felt to say what you did, you're still compounding his suffering. Not the a-hole. He reaped what he sowed. My wife, 30 female, and I, 32 female, were living in a 2-bedroom condo in the city. Pricey due to the location, but small. My mom, 66 female, was living in the same home she'd inherited from my grandparents with my younger sister, 24 female. We were looking to upgrade to a bigger place since my wife was pregnant with number 2, and my mom suggested that we trade houses. Initially, she was just going to move into our condo while we moved into the family home. We got pretty far in the legal, financial process, but then she had a major health setback, and we all decided that she would benefit from actually staying in the mother-in-law suite of the family house, and then she would rent out her condo for retirement income. So nominally, she does own our old condo, but she doesn't live there. The house was worth $750K, and the condo only $600K. But since she's also living with us rent-free, we were making upgrades to her suite, and we're helping administrate the condo as a rental property. We all decided it comes out in the wash. My sister also lives here part-time when she's not with her significant other traveling for work. My older half-brother, 44 male, who lives in another part of the country, is very, very upset about this. He's my mom's son from her first marriage. He didn't really catch what was going on until the move was well underway. He and I don't talk much, and I guess my mom didn't mention it to him. I think initially he thought we were just moving in with her. Now he's upset at being denied a home that's his as well. It's technically both our childhood homes, but he only lived in it full-time from when he was 11, when my grandparents died and my parents married, to when he was 14, when he decided to leave with his dad for the most part. I lived in it 0 to 22, and even before we moved here, spent way more time there, and with our mom since I still live in the area. My wife and I are very active in my mom's life, while my brother lives thousands of miles away and has kept my mom at arm's length since he was a teenager. The move is all complete. Our family is settled in the house. My mom is settled in the newly refreshed mother-in-law suite. We have great renters for the condo, but he is still very upset. He visited for the first time recently and was openly complaining. He kept making passive-aggressive comments like how he was forced to sleep on an air mattress in his own house, and things like that. I said it had been a fair trade, not a gift, and he hadn't been around. And he said I'd scammed our mom into it, and he should have had a cut of it and been informed. We ended up getting into a shouting match about it. He said he was the eldest and he should have a cut of it and been informed about my mom's plans. I told him to grow up and that it was a you snooze, you lose situation. He gets his cut of it when his mother dies, like he was always going to. When she dies, he gets part of the money from the sale of the condo, which is exactly the same thing as getting part of the money from the sale of the house. Point out to him that he's been mentally spending his inheritance before his mother is even in the ground. Is he worried about his inheritance? Because he stands to inherit part of the condo when your mom passes. At this point, there is no cut to be had. Your mom is still alive and made the decision to deal with her property the way she saw fit. It's not even a snooze-you-lose scenario. Your mom is an adult. She can do what she wants with her home. Not the a-hole. Your brother thinks he just gets a free house? Also, you bought it. It may have been in a non-traditional way, but you still bought it. Tell him that his inheritance is 1/3 of the condo, the property your mom actually owns. Maybe consider getting a lawyer to look over everything, just to make sure it's above board, just in case your brother decides to act like a bigger a-hole. I, 23 female, have a brother, 29 male. We never had a good relationship. For a little background, our mother passed away 3 years ago. I was torn. She was my best friend. My father was in pieces. I had to take care of him while my brother didn't help with the funeral, never came to see my mother while she was dying, and didn't even come to see how my father was doing. He pretty much just walked away. Meanwhile, I, at 20, had to pay, do everything. Medical bills, funeral, rent, because my father was so depressed he couldn't get out of bed. Flash forward to now. In those 3 years, we saw my brother 5 times. But a few months ago, his wife was in heart failure, same as my mother. She didn't have much time, but 2 weeks ago, she ended up passing away. And that's when my brother came back to our hometown asking for money for a funeral and medical bills. He came to my father's house asking why I didn't respond to any messages he sent me. I replied with, "Why didn't you reply to all the texts and calls when mom was begging to see you, or when dad was in pieces after she died? Seriously? You're gonna do this? I need money, okay? Just make the inheritance a check. I will be by for it come tomorrow." As if mom would leave anything to a piece of crap who can't even show up when people need him. I told him to get out and not come back. Then last week, I got a bunch of texts, messages, saying that I'm an a-hole sister for not letting the past go and to help my brother out. So please tell me if I'm the a-hole in this situation. Not the a-hole. That being said, he's got some nerve waltzing in and demanding money for his wife's funeral and medical bills from you, like you're a damn bank. Especially after he just upped and abandoned his family and left you to take care of everything mentally and financially while you were just 20 years old. Not the a-hole. Actions have consequences. My uncle will be in a very similar situation as your brother when my grandmother dies. He cut the whole family off over 10 years ago over a land dispute, except for showing up every once in a while to dish out some verbal aggression. Didn't see his father when he was in a slow decline. Didn't go to his own father's funeral, although it was a 10-minute drive, etc. My grandmother is transferring most of her property now and plans to leave him $1 so he can't say he was forgotten about or cut out. Not the a-hole. There is no inheritance yet because your father is still alive. If your father hasn't updated his will, encourage him to do that ASAP so his wishes are documented. Normally, every year I fly back home, 2,000 miles, for a couple weeks to spend time with my parents and siblings. It's a pretty expensive trip because the ticket cost me usually around $800 to $1,000. I'm buying gifts for all of my family members, which is about 15 people, and I have to pay for my own stuff while I'm there. Things such as groceries, travel, going out to eat, etc. Overall, since I moved away, I've spent roughly $3,000 each time I go back. Sure, I could just skip out on getting everybody gifts, and hoping me being there to celebrate and spend quality time is enough. But unfortunately, my presence is not enough for them. They want gifts too. Not only that, I stay with my parents and my 2 siblings that still live at home. So for the duration of my stay, I'm typically sleeping on the floor or a sleeping bag. It's far from comfortable with a bad back. Plus, a good majority of my family hates me because I call out their BS. I got tired of being cordial and being around them, so I'd rather not waste my time or money on them. So this year, I've decided to save myself the headache back pain, expenses, and my sanity. Unfortunately, there's also one lingering issue. My spouse and I inherited their parents' belongings, such as a house, a vehicle, and half of their total finances. I've not told my immediate family what the inheritance amount is, but it's truly not that much. It's around $100,000, which is going to be taxed anyways. So we'll end up with about $70,000, which will pay off debt and go towards fixing the house. There was some hiccups, and unfortunately it's not considered true inheritance, and it counts as income, which is not lovely. My spouse used to talk about their parents being really good at saving money and having a pretty good nest egg saved up for them and their sibling to split upon their death. My mother and siblings hearing this assume that we are going to be extremely rich now because the estate closes this month. So for the last 2 months, they've been sending me Christmas gifts they have in mind that I could get them. Things such as phones, computers, TVs, jewelry, and even a $50,000 car. I know they are doing this because they know about the estate, and I honestly just feel used. I can't tell them the truth about the estate because they have their minds made up that I'm extremely wealthy either way. So am I the a-hole for not going because I feel like they only want me there for expensive gifts? Jesus, you are not the a-hole, and I would cut all contact with them. Your presence should be enough. And did I read correctly that you have to pay for groceries when you are staying with your parents? Usually, if someone flies across the country, they don't have to buy groceries too. Not the a-hole. Go on a nice overseas holiday with your partner over Christmas. $3,000 to sleep on the floor is pretty offensive, to say nothing of the avarice your family shows. Not the a-hole. Even without the inheritance, you didn't want to go. Tell them that after the debts were taken out, that there's not even enough left to get everyone's gifts and travel. So to save embarrassment, you're staying home. My husband, 34 male, grew up with his cousin, 32 female, in the same house, and he treats her like a sister. A few years ago, she went through a horrible breakup after 8 years of dating the same dysfunctional guy, which left her with nothing but 5-figure credit card debt. When it first happened, we were very sympathetic and invited her to hang out with us for a week since we lived about 600 miles away. We paid for her going out with us happily, knowing what she was going through. She offered to pay us back, and we declined to take her money. My husband and I are both financially literate, so when she felt better, we went out of our way to help her renegotiate and settle her credit card debts, and work through an entire financial plan with her so she could start to build her retirement nest of eggs. As time goes by, Cousin started doing better. She got a much better job in management and started dating her new, financially secure man, 6-figure white-collar job and a paid-off house, with the intent to marry. Fast forward to recent months. We just welcomed our first child in April and sent around our registry at least 3 months ahead of time. We did not have a crazy registry. We have about 30 to 40 items listed, including some $8 to $20 stuff, like baby towels and books, because to us, it's the thoughts that counted, and we made major purchases like car seat and baby furniture ourselves. However, our registry was ignored by Cousin, and she was notably the only family member on either side who didn't do anything with the registry. As of a week ago, we received said Cousin's wedding registry, and I told my husband I did not want to contribute because gift giving seemed to be only one way in this relationship. My husband was not happy and called me a petty a-hole over $25 baby gifts, and said I should get over it or forget that his cousin didn't contribute because it is not significant and our baby has everything he might need. He further said for us to not contribute to her wedding registry would be ruining a lifelong sibling-like relationship that is so precious. Am I the a-hole? Edited to add. Thank you everyone for your input. It is certainly helpful to hear both yes a-hole and no a-hole views, and furthermore, suggestions on what else could have happened. An off-registry gift was sent and lost in the post-holiday logistics nightmare. I think for my sanity, choosing to believe it is a lost gift is my best way forward here. Edited to add too. My husband has apologized for calling me petty. Since the wedding event is a good few months away, we might take a break and return to this to hash out what we want to do as a family unit. Also, virus might change the nature of the wedding event. So most likely, especially if there is no wedding plus reception in the traditional sense, we will be flexible towards the newlyweds arrangement, but only bring a small gift if we go physically. Thank you again everyone for your views. This is a teaching moment to me on how different family dynamics view gifting very differently. Not the a-hole. It seems that if you're okay with not contributing to a registry, you should also be okay with not getting anything. I'm going with no a-hole. You don't want to spend your money for husband to maintain a relationship with his cousin. A cousin who deliberately, or not, didn't give a token acknowledgement that you had a child. You don't have to obligate your money towards a gift or your time towards attending the wedding, but you also can't really tell your husband what to do with his money or time. No a-hole, but I think you should defer to him here. I don't think that you're wrong for not wanting to contribute when she hasn't returned the favor for a big event in your life. But your husband is also not an a-hole for not wanting to cause drama over one gift. Since it's his relationship, I would just let it go. When my son passed away, I took in his ex-wife and my grandson. She was living off of spousal support and child support. When Derek passed away, she was left with nothing. He didn't even have life insurance. His savings amounted to about $5,000. I told her that they were welcome to stay until she got established with her education and a job. They have been here for 2 years now. My grandson is enrolled in the school that is literally across the street from my house. It's not terrible. My daughter-in-law helps out around the house and has completed her schooling. She got a job as an LPN, and I'm looking forward to having my house back to myself. I will miss seeing my grandson every day, but they cannot afford to live in this school district. Everything has been going well until she graduated and got a job. She met a guy. That's fine. I fully understand that. She isn't really my son's widow. They were divorced. And she is an adult. She can do whatever she wants. But then she met another guy, and another. I just don't want it in my house. For 2 years now, I have been discreet about my love life around her and the kid. I spend time at my girlfriend's house, or we go away for the weekend. I don't want her bringing some random guys she wants to bang into my house. I talked to her about it, and she says it's not my business, and I agree. I have asked her to move out at the end of this school year. She says that I'm being an a-hole and judging her for her life choices. I'm not. This was never a permanent arrangement. I want my house not to have random guys in it. Am I being an a-hole? Not the a-hole. I thought you threw her out with no notice for bringing her new boyfriend to the house she shares with you. You aren't. If I read correctly, you are giving her 3 months' notice to move out because she is bringing some guys she wants to bang. There's nothing wrong with her actions. Like you said, she is an adult, but you don't have to pass up the peaceful enjoyment of your home to make her happy. Not the a-hole. She has the audacity to bring her hookups into your home. You're giving her at least 3 months to find a new place and to make the transition. Not the a-hole. She's taking advantage of your kindness. Living there was an offer you extended because it was a more stable environment for your grandson. She can do whatever she wants in her own house. Time for her to go. Hope she stays close so you can keep tabs on your grandson. He's going to need you.